What's going on, guys? Peace and blessings. I hope everybody's doing well today. Every time I come to the forest, man, I tend to get these downloads. Something about the noise of the city, something about the quiet of being out here. And I don't even have to get that far away from the city for it to happen, something about just being amongst nature, just amongst a natural ecosystem. Something about that. So what I want to talk to you guys about in this video is delayed gratification and discipline, obedience, that kind of a thing. So most of the world, as I think we all know by now, is really, I'd say the vast majority of people are on a day-to-day basis engaging in some form of instant gratification, whether it be through, porn websites, sexual stuff, whether it be through, eating foods, candies, fast food, fried food, whatever, shitty foods, shitty TV, just sitting in front of Netflix, playing video games, You guys know. You guys already know. I don't think I have to explain you. I think everybody on some deep level actually knows. We know what's good for us and what isn't. It's just that a lot of people don't take the time to look within. That there's like a voice in you that already knows, but a lot of people have figured out ways to basically silence that voice because they just don't want to give up their habits and their addictions. And I get it. Me of all people, I really get it because I have had so many addictions in my life. That's kind of been almost one of the most common themes in my whole life. And just ask anybody that knows me well, I've gone from addiction to addiction to addiction, and it's like I'll give one thing up, but then I'd trade it for another. And I didn't really realize what was going on, until I really got serious about morality and righteousness and got on semen retention, to tell you the truth, and made a very conscious and sincere surrender to God the Father, the Most High God. Said, I give my life to you because when I'm in charge, making the rules, doing things my way, I just suffer. I might have fun for a minute, but I always suffer in the end. And my life just over a course of time, maybe I have these high highs and then I'm down, then I'm up, then I'm down. But it's like overall, it's a downward trend when I'm running the show. So at a certain point in my life, I had to fully and totally surrender to such an extent that it's like, a full surrender means that you're willing to give anything up, anything and everything, if that's what it takes, including sex, including friends, including, a family, whatever. It's not that you necessarily need to not have these things, but it's a state of willingness. You're willing. You want God more than you want any of those things. That's the place that's changed my life. That is what has really led to me making a radical transformation from the inside out. So I'm just noticing now, since I've been on this path for a little bit, it does get easier because you start to get the rewards of delaying gratification. And then what you start to enter is this space where you're now sustainably happy. I feel like just high, naturally high, most of the time, not all the time. I still have my moments, but most of the time. And it feels very sustainable, and it feels very I don't tend to crash. I don't tend to have these doctors used to tell me I was bipolar, because I was just, but really what was going on with that was I was just fornicating, doing drugs, eating terribly unhealthy foods, staring at screens way too much, watching video games, engaging with the wrong people, the wrong energies, all of this stuff. So yeah, like, of course I'm going to appear bipolar because I'm on this freaking roller coaster, this brain chemistry roller coaster that looks a lot like there's something wrong with you. But the only thing that's really wrong with you is that you're making terrible decisions on a regular basis. And, doctors, you go to a doctor about it, they don't, first of all, they don't have time. They see so many patients, they don't have time to really get to know you. I mean, this is why, like, if anything, have a therapist that's not going to give you drugs or something. It's actually going to, like, get to know what your lifestyle looks like, because it's your lifestyle that's making it this way. And also, I've mentioned this in other videos too. A lot of times people are told that there's something wrong with them when in fact they just have spiritual gifts. They're just unique. They're just different, And a lot of times it's like medical clinicians, people like that, they don't really know what to do with that. They don't learn about that in school. They don't learn about God in school, So how are they? All they're taught is like, oh, this person, okay, these are your symptoms. Okay, well, here's a drug that treats those symptoms. Well, now you're on drugs, and let's say they work and they treat the symptoms. Well, then what? What happens when you stop taking those drugs? I mean, now you're a slave. Now you're a slave to an inanimate object, to a chemical, like, okay, well, if that helps your quality of life, if that helps you get out of like a really dark period, okay, that's one thing, but like, that's not ideal. Who wants to be dependent on really anything outside of themselves? How is that, if you knew for a fact that you didn't need that, right? If you knew for a fact that actually everything you've ever needed and ever will need is already within you through the power of the Most High God. If you knew that for a fact, you wouldn't settle. You wouldn't settle. You wouldn't settle for being in bondage, for being in attachment, for being dependent on things. Why would you? You'd be crazy to settle for that when you could actually experience freedom. But in order to experience freedom, right, there's the paradox here is like, for true freedom requires that we follow rules, certain things. There's laws. There's laws we must follow. There's laws of the body, laws of the mind, laws of the spirit. And those laws don't change. They're not like man's laws. They're constantly rewriting them. They're permanent. They're the same in the beginning as they are in the end, and everything in between. And they apply equally to everybody. But we're not taught this in school. We are not taught this, and of course we're not. Why would we? Because that's a whole other tangent. But it's like, if you know who funds the public school systems, and then you know where they got their money, and you start following the money, going down that rabbit hole, you realize why. I mean, there's a very clear reason why you are not being taught these things. There's a hawk flying right over me right now. That's why I'm looking up. Big giant hawk. That's another thing, by the way, unrelated to the topic of the video, but this is one thing I'm noticing lately is when I'm in nature, wildlife tends to come way closer to me. I've been like, deers just like walk up to me. Like right now, it's just a hawk, just still, it's just like hovering right over me. Birds that I don't normally see seem like they're not threatened by my presence. It's absolutely insane. It's trippy. I love it. And I'm sober, by the way, just to make that very clear. I think a lot of people see the bird. I just said that. Several really, I don't even know what kind of birds these are. They're beautiful. Okay. Anyways, it's so funny because I used to be on drugs. I'm sober now. But certain people would think I'm on drugs. I'd be like, this guy, how many mushrooms did this guy take? That kind of like, man, you see, when you delay gratification and you start getting on this righteous path, drugs become kind of funny. It becomes kind of funny to you, drugs and alcohol. Like you see like people still doing this stuff, and it's like, it just seems so absurd to you because you're already so high. You're so high on your own supply, and these are spiritual gifts that you receive, blessings that you receive when you follow the rules. Most people don't want to do that. They want to make up their own rules. I did that most of my life, and it got me like institutionalized. got me in rehab a couple times. It got me in some legal trouble. It got me suicidal at one point. I mean, it was bad, you guys, real bad. So nowadays, like, yeah, okay, so I have to follow some rules. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm so glad it's that way. Now my life has order, it has purpose, it has meaning, and I'm good. I'm just good from the inside out. And yeah, I think that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I really appreciate anybody that is watching these videos. There's so many bugs out here. So yeah, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, share, you know the deal. Much love, everybody. Bye-bye.